What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 36 of the Unwinding podcast. It's been a minute since we've been doing these. It's been a minute since we moved to Florida, and today we're going to give an update on kind of our neighborhood, our overall how we're feeling about moving here. If you want to get clickbaity, whether we regret it or not,
Do we regret moving to Florida?
I guess like with most life decisions, it does come down to like a would you do it again or not or whatever, but it's always more nuanced than that. So
True.
We're going to talk through most of that stuff and get a little bit into the weeds. But if this is your first time watching us, my name is Chris.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the Unwinding podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Unwinding podcast, the podcast where we talk about all the things that help us unwind in life. One of those
I feel like you say that faster every single time we do a podcast.
Now I know how to say it really fast. I don't want to forget.
It's just rattled off.
We did not introduce Miss Nellie, Miss Nell Bells, Nella.
Yeah, she's a long time guest of the podcast.
It's okay,
from the
fine.
early episodes. For some reason today, like normally she doesn't want to be in here, but today.
Yeah. Well, she always wants to be in here. It's whether or not we allow her to be in here because both the dogs want to be in here.
Yeah, I don't know where the other one is right now.
He's asleep on the couch, which is where he needs to stay because he peed on my foot today. Just hiked his leg and peed on my foot. Luckily, I had sandals on that were rubber and could easily be washed, but I was standing outside looking at my phone, responding to something, and he just walked up next to me and peed on me.
Savage.
I was like, what is that?
It's a good thing you're not. It's a good thing you're not a socks with sandals gal.
I'm not gonna lie. Well, right, yeah. He about got it went airborne because I about kicked him.
You at least thought it. You thought it in your
I was
mind.
like, what
you thought
is that?
You thought all the way through that.
All right, let's see. We have. It seems like it's been a minute since we've done this because we recorded the last two together 2 weeks ago because we were in Illinois and Tennessee last week. So.
Hence the deeper voices because we both got sick while we were there because the weather is just not Florida weather.
No.
Minus one for the rest of the world, plus one for Florida's weather.
Yeah, especially this time of year. Both of us sound a little nasally and stuffy, I feel like, just because it was a little rough. We both got sick.
Yep. So whenever we went up there, it was actually beautiful at first. It was like, 75,
yeah.
Something like that. And then about halfway through the trip, it did that like trademark spring Midwest thing where it goes from like 75 down to 35. So you just kind of got to deal with it.
We're not exaggerating. That's literally the temperature.
It did drop like 35 degrees
over
the course of one night. And I woke up the next morning just like head pounding.
Yep.
Fully snotty, and I was like, all right, we're in for this.
Yeah.
So,
and we haven't quite kicked it, I feel like, completely coming back. So
no, but significantly better.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been up to. We had a good time visiting family and friends. Per usual, you can't always do it all anytime you go anywhere. So you always
saw some unbelievable soccer goals. Like
some good soccer. Yeah, absolutely. We were supposed to see 2 soccers. I think we said last time we were going up there because it was 2 soccers. And then because we got sick, we came back here early because we were like,
and we watched the second soccer game from my couch, and I'm so glad we didn't stay for it because it would have been. It was cold, and then like Nashville blew a lead at home, and it was like. Ugh.
I'm like glad we didn't spend money on that.
Yeah.
So not super upset about that, but yeah, ate some good food. Celebrated Easter. Yeah, it was a good time.
I hung out and saw some family that I hadn't seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, that's good. So it was a good time. We rented a car, which was a good call. Driving up there, we just gave it a different vibe. And pro tip: if you were ever driving, I don't know if you ever would be driving from Florida to Tennessee or Tennessee to Florida, but leaving early if you have to go through Atlanta and Chattanooga is a good call. Like we left at 4 a.m. both ways, coming up and going back, and it was a really good call.
Yeah, both of those trips, you have Chattanooga and Atlanta going back, and then like Florida is all road construction right now to get out of here, and it's just like if you've been down to Disney or you've come down and visited from somewhere and you have to go back up, 75 is basically what you end up going back up. If you have to do that, you are just like in a world of hurt if you don't get up that early.
Absolutely.
So, if you haven't already experienced it and you're planning a trip like that, get up.
There you have
Get
it.
up early. It's worth it.
There you have it. Yeah, so that's a little bit about what we've been up to and just kind of recovering this week, getting back into the groove of things. It's been a little rough, but we've made it. And now it's right under 6 months of us living here in Central Florida.
That's wild.
And we're going to talk about it.
It
is kind of wild, honestly. If you think 6 months doesn't seem like a long time until you say half a year, then you're like, oh, that's a significant amount of time, I feel like.
Yeah, like I don't know all the things, but I
Yeah.
know way more things than I did the last time we did an update here.
Yeah.
I basically knew how to get to Disney World and back the last time that we did an update here, and I feel like I've figured out
Get around
we've
a little
both
bit
figured
more.
out so much more of our like local community and things like that than we did.
I still struggle. And I'm good with directions, like legitimately. I know like people say that and you're like not, but like
No, you are.
legitimately good with directions. And I still like I get just kind of sometimes a little bit turned around, which is a little annoying for me because I'm good at directions, so I like to know, but I don't know. There
There are a lot of roads that don't go straight here.
Yes. Murfreesboro was like that too, but I don't know. I don't know if it was because it's smaller and I don't know. It's just like the layout here is a little strange, but we'll get into all that. So we're going to just kind of talk through a little bit of our experience, what's been going on. We are specifically talking about, so I know we say like we're moving to Orlando. Technically, we don't live in Orlando. We live in Winter Garden. And then even more technical than that, we live in an area called Horizon West. And then even more technical than that, we live in an area called Hamlin, and I'm not going to give you the name of our actual
this
community here,
is it's small enough that like if you know what Hamlin is, you know where we're at.
Yeah,
for
just
sure.
in case somebody one day
Or are you protecting against the internet creepers?
Yeah.
Oh,
just in case one day
right,
somebody's
fine.
like, let's go see where Chris and Alex
I don't
live.
listen.
No,
I
I'm
don't
telling
know,
you
man.
that.
There are people on TikTok that you're like. Actually, I was watching one the other day where the meme of the guy in the yellow suit and he's standing behind the tree with his hands put together.
Yes.
So there was somebody that was like, "You can't find where this is," and the guy goes, "Okay, bet." So he gets on there, he finds the original poster of that.
There's a guy who specifically does that, and I think the
idea
of it is to like educate people, especially parents with young kids, about posting where they are.
I mean, honestly, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, because it is kind of scary.
It's kind of crazy. He legitimately found the first post that a person did of that, where that person lives, and then like used a bunch of their Facebook profile information to like know where it might be around there. Like it was a photography
We're getting way
session.
off topic.
Sorry. But okay. Thanks for protecting us, I guess.
Getting way off topic. Just wanted to protect us there. So if we're specifically looking at that area, if you're looking to move down here, hopefully this gives you some ideas of kind of like at least our experience of it and what we like and don't like about it. So you want to start off with our first one, which is kind of like our current lifestyle change down here, how things have changed versus like being able to go to the theme parks, things like that. Yeah,
for sure. I hesitate to throw the theme parks in there. Like I feel like we've talked a little bit about the things just change whenever with the parks themselves, like how you experience it and everything whenever you become an annual pass holder versus if you might be going on your first trip, or it might have been like 4 or 5 years since you've been to Disney World or Universal. If you don't go to one of those parks in 5 years, like, yeah, it's like there's tons of new rides and basically it's everything that you can do to just like get up and do everything, right?
Yeah, you can't do everything. It's impossible.
No, it's so hard. I would say it's probably impossible.
No,
depending
is.
on how long you go. Like,
even then, we come all the time and we still haven't done everything.
It is true.
You can't do everything.
But I think things have changed too. Like, it's like now it's like, do you want to go to Magic Kingdom and just watch the fireworks tonight? You know, like
you're talking about how things have changed for us.
Yeah, yes. Totally. Since we've been here and live here, so like. Yes, the parks stuff has changed, but I feel like we've kind of talked about that on the podcast before.
Yeah.
How that's been a little bit different. Some other parts of our lifestyle is basically we just went through like 5-ish months where we have both struggled in the past with like getting outside and being active and things like that during the winter. It's super hard. It's just way easier to sit inside and play video games or read a book or something or eat. Yes, while
because it's cold and gross usually, and so I just want to sit and eat on the couch.
So that's probably the biggest change for me is just being here and it being like 65, 70 degrees every single day. It's crazy to be mowing your lawn in January, but that's a trade-off I think I'm willing to take.
Yeah, there's definitely year-round lawn care here, which is very different. So if you don't want to take care of your lawn year-round, Florida may not be the vibe for you.
Or just pay somebody.
Or if you want to pay for somebody to do. I know a lot of our neighbors do. We do it ourselves, but it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of stuff keeping up with the landscaping. And speaking of the grass, I still hate the grass here. If you listened to the 3-month update I think we did, the grass, I hate it.
It's St. Augustine grass.
I won't.
It's very poofy.
It's not poofy is a nice word. It is awful, and I hate it so much. But we won't have to talk about the grass longer because I already did that on the 3-month update. But if I was to pinpoint one thing I didn't like about this place, it is the grass. That's the only thing really for me.
Wow, that's
it's not much, but that's what I hate. But yeah, I mean, for sure, I feel like our lifestyles changed a lot in terms of just like what we do after work and on the weekends, and it's been fun because we've been able to do more like running and. Gosh, if I look back how many runs I would have done outside in between November and March living in Illinois or Tennessee, it would have been probably a big fat 0. And most of our running was done like March, April, May, and then we'd stop for the heat of the summer, and then September, October, November, maybe. And then, but I know people are going to be like, well, you're not going to want to run in the summer because it's going to be too hot. And it's like,
We'll see. We're gonna have to because
we just signed up for a marathon. Everybody, absolutely.
So.
This morning we did. Heck yeah, we did. Run Disney Marathon Weekend 2025 coming up. We have 289 days, I think, away. So I looked it up earlier. Woof. But yeah, so if you want to move down here, I think like if you're looking for that weather aspect of it, and just having the ability to be outside more. It is a huge pro.
Yeah, so unless you're just coming from a place that is like, I don't know, notorious for having the same weather, like California is kind of this way, or, or Texas or something like that, where you kind of, yes, it's hot during the summer, but it doesn't get too chilly or whatever. If you're coming from a place other than that, this is definitely a marked improvement if that matters to you. So aside from just the weather piece of it, I think as far as like entertainment options and things to do in the community, stuff is a lot different here as well. Like there are so many more like bikers and runners than I feel like there were, or like just outdoor enthusiasts than I feel like there were where we were at.
Oh, absolutely. And so there's run clubs, and I know there's this kind of stuff most places, but honestly, just like where we were, I don't remember it being as prevalent as it seems to be here. Or we're just seeking out that aspect because we don't know as many people here. And that could be totally plausible too. We kind of already had a set. Chris lived where we were at in Tennessee, Chris had lived there before I had even moved there. So he kind of already had a built-in like community from going to school there in college. And so it's easier to build community in college because you're just like in more proximity to people than when you get out as an adult. There's just harder. You have to be a little bit more mindful of it. So moving down here, not knowing as many people, we are just more mindful of it and like kind of putting ourselves out there, going to the run club that's up the road. You've been going to Lorcana game nights at a game store up the road. And, I've been going to a cycling class, and we've already talked about the book club fail, but I put myself out there, and it didn't work out, but it's okay. I'm not going to be friends with the book club people, but that's all right. At least that book club. But, yeah, it seems like there's a lot more opportunities in my opinion. And it's still difficult to meet people regardless of those opportunities. Like it's still been difficult. And also I will cop to the fact that like we really just started like actively doing that within like the last month or so because we've been so busy.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that one of the things about this area specifically, like Hamlin, Horizon West, is this is a relatively, like when you compare it to the rest of the area, this community itself is not very old. So a lot of the earliest houses in our neighborhood and things like that, you're looking like 2018, 2019, whenever this like our neighborhood was established and some of the commercial stuff started coming across the way. So we've only had like 5 years of development to build it up to what it is. And there are several other areas around here, like you think toward like Celebration or downtown Winter Garden, like
Windermere.
Yes, yeah, Windermere, 100%. That have been here, you know,
they're more established.
15, 20 years longer. So there's like, there's a lot of stuff here that is just now being started up, you know? So if you're looking for like a pickup soccer group or basketball or something like that, it's a little bit harder to find. But one of the things that is really cool in this community, for sure, I'll shout them out, is like Filigree/Home State. Mm-hmm. So they have a bulletin board in there with lots of stuff of like local things and people and businesses and stuff in there as well. So I always like it. It kind of gives it like a little bit of it's not a small town, but it gives it a little bit more of a small community vibe because it's not quite the community that it's going to be yet. So if you're looking for, like, if you are interested in moving to Orlando and you're like looking for places and like, what's the vibe of certain places, definitely like Horizon West Hamlin area. I think this is going to be like a much larger place than it is right now, like a much larger community than it is right now. But the vibe here is very, very cool. It's just,
I think too, when you say larger community than it is right now, if you're from a small town, this is massive to you.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that's a little bit of a distinction too. This is a very, very large area. And so it's not really like that it's not big. It's just, it's growing really, really quickly. And so like, it's established, but it's like, there's still a lot to come from it. Like gas stations in particular, it's kind of a weird thing, just like the grass situation is weird. The gas stations, there's not very many in this area. So like,
sometimes it takes you 15, 20 minutes if you go over the interstate. It takes you like 15, 20 minutes to get gas.
Which, again, I grew up in a town of like 200 people, and so it did, and so did you. And so it took 20, 25 minutes to get to gas. So we're not necessarily unused to that. It's just when you think about moving to a city, which is what this is, that would not be the same. Where we were like in the country. So that makes sense. There wasn't a lot around. Being in the city and the fact that there's not a lot of gas stations is kind of just an odd thing that is different about here. Yeah.
And I think part of it is like, right now there are these like pockets of community like Waterley and New Independence and things like that where it doesn't feel very continuous. It's like here's our little pocket, and then you drive down a road, and then you get to another little pocket. And I think we'll eventually kind of just spread out, and that'll just be part of Horizon West. But right now, they feel like very separate, distinct places that have like these small little communities. But eventually, I think they'll all just kind of be one big one over on the west side.
Yeah. Another thing that I think that we were kind of nervous about moving down here was being so far away from family and friends that we have made over the years. So even in living in Tennessee, we did have family in Tennessee, and we were only like 3 to 4 hours away from both of our parents and the rest of our family for the most part. So moving down here, we are a solid 10 hours from Tennessee and a solid 14 to 15 hours from where our families live in Illinois. So we were both a little bit like, man, this is a big leap. Like most of our immediate family has never lived this far away from home before. And how are we going to, keep those relationships up and that sort of thing? So far, 6 months in, we have had our families here more than when they visited in Tennessee.
Well, yeah, it's also been the winter, and this is Florida versus,
I know that. I'm just saying, so far it has, it's been not really like, I wasn't honestly not super surprised by that because I knew they would want to come down and see us, especially being in this area. But
I think the thing that is that I wasn't prepared for is it is like the cost of going on a small vacation to like
home.
go home.
But that's because we chose to rent a car, which was half of that.
Sure.
Half of that money, but we didn't want to put the mileage on our personal car, so we chose to do that. But yeah, I mean,
well, and we couldn't fly. Like we didn't want to fly
with the dogs.
With these guys.
Yeah. It would have been free if we could have flown because we have so many air mileage points that it would have been fine. But with the doggos, they kind of messed the game up. Yeah, so we just had some friends of ours who moved down here several years before us. They kind of mentioned like they talked about this same thing with, you know, being further away from friends and family. They came from a town where they were close to both of their families nearby. And, you know, it was like really easy to be like, hey, let's grab dinner on a Tuesday night. And like, we were like, well, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. And they said, but when they did get to see them, it was for 4, 5, 6 days at a time. And so that like, it wasn't quantity, but it was more quality time.
Yeah.
And I would say that that's honestly rang true so far for us because it was the same way, like our families would be able to come down for a short weekend or even just come down and be like, hey, like we're going to come down for the night. Let's grab dinner and, you know, we'll stay the night and go home the next morning. And then now it's more like, oh, to make this worth it, if they're going to fly down here, then it's like, oh, let's stay for at least 4, 5, 6 days to make, you know, flying actually worth it. So
yeah, I think we've also prepared better for people coming here than before, you know, like if it was going to be a day trip or something like that. If you're going to have somebody there for a few hours or a day or two, that's cool. If you're going to have somebody there for 5 to 7 days, you got to make accommodations and
sure. And
have
there's
plenty of space to get away if you need to get away and not be in each other's grill.
Sure. And then there's just more to do down here too. Like there's more stuff for us to go out and do together. Like Disney has a ton of free stuff that we can go do. Universal has free stuff we can do. And so
yeah, my parents went down and checked out the Space Center one day.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was not free, but
well, no, but there's lots of touristy stuff otherwise.
So looking back at the last 6 months and everything that we have, I mean, for the most part, we have liked nearly everything. It's not been without its challenges. Of course, it's harder it's hard when you don't know a lot of people down here. You don't know a lot of people who are in your similar life stage, and building community is hard. And it's hard when you walk outside and the grass pokes you and you hate it.
Oh my gosh, with this grass stuff, dude.
But outside of those things, the weather, the ability to be able to go to Disney and Universal all the time and have that so close, and something we love, being close to the cruise ports has been fun. And just being able to be more active and have more opportunities to be active with other people, I feel like outweigh a lot of that for me. So if I'm just looking back at us when we were like last summer, when we were really like last spring and summer, when we were like, okay, like
are we going to bite the bullet on this or not?
Yeah, like if we're going to do this, we need to go ahead and do it. Like, let's make it happen. Like, let's stop sitting around. And, you know, I am so glad. Not only glad that we did it, I'm glad we did it when we did, because we were in talks of kind of like waiting until February, March, April. So that would be like we would just be getting here now. And I'm so glad that we have gotten to spend the winter here, because it has mentally just been really good for myself.
Yeah, 100%. I think if we had, the only thing that I feel like I wish we could have done different.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure that we would have had a different outcome, because again, so much of this comes down to like having a realtor that gets you and what you want and can help you find an area. Like basically our realtor told us, she was like, you guys feel like you're going to like Horizon West. And
she was right.
And she was 100% right. We looked at a lot of different places. I wish we could have had more than one weekend. We vlogged our weekend that we came down and checked out the area to see where we might want to live out. So you can go check that vlog out. But I feel like if we had one more of those.
No, I agree.
I would have liked that. I feel like we just kind of...
We lucked into it?
I was going to say not necessarily lucked, but like I feel like the luckiness was finding the group of people, like the real estate agent and those people, because I feel like she got us and she knew exactly where we would kind of fit. And
shout out Emily Berry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you are
Posit group, if you're looking,
I was gonna say Posit group is everywhere. Chances are good if you're already looking for
you've probably seen
Orlando, you've seen their YouTube page because they're
great.
They're great. They make good content, and then everybody we've interacted with from there is awesome as well. So and a lot of the reason I feel like we ended up here where we're at.
So you would do it again?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, the community is hard, but community is always hard. And finding friends and keeping friends and having relationships is just always it's always hard, but it's worth it because human connection is one of the best things. It's like the thing that makes us human. So.
For sure. Cool. Well, hopefully that was helpful for y'all who are maybe looking at moving down to the Sunshine State to get away from the non-Sunshine State areas.
Yeah, and if you're watching this and you have specific questions about like areas or I don't know, is there a mobile pet groomer? We know we know weird questions, now. But it's some of those things that are I don't know, do you go into all those details whenever you're making a podcast like this? If you have those questions, comment them or DM one of us on Instagram at Chris Windings, at Alex Windings Travels, and we can just chat through it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to help. And if you're looking to plan a trip, there's always a form link below too. I'm a travel advisor and I'd love to help you book a trip either to Disney World or Universal.
Any cruises. We just got off a Virgin Cruise.
Yeah,
got lots fun. Of good Virgin Cruise content coming.
Yeah, lots of fun. So we'd love to help there. And our last little ditty here. How you unwinding this week? Chris Windings.
So I'm so jazzed. Normally we owe $1 million on taxes, and this year we don't owe anything, which is
we got
awesome.
Some money back.
So we had some
first time we have done taxes together 9 times I think now, and we always owe money until this year. So
we were saving, knowing that we were going to owe some money, so we had some. So
that was exciting.
Chris got a new pair of soccer cleats, and they'll be here. Probably at some point this afternoon. So
nice. That's exciting.
I have been looking for a pickup league around here. I have some leads on a couple different things. But I needed some new shoes because the last ones I bought were when I went to college.
We need to spend $1 million on shoes because both of us ran through our running shoes for the half marathon.
And we're getting old and ankles and knees, and it's a whole thing.
Knees and toes.
That's not it. That ain't the song, but you did get your song in. So
it's ankles, knees. What is it?
Head, shoulders. Okay. All right. Well,
I was like, that's not the right. Just ignore that,
just
everyone.
Cut that out.
Just ignore that just happened. It's fine. So for me, I was kind of struggling for a second, but I am going to put this in here, even though technically it's kind of work related. It's my fun part of work related. Is I'm going to start a coffee series on my Instagram this week. So. What?
I'm curious. You didn't consult the coffee professional in this house before you decided to make it.
I have had this on my list of to do for since I moved here, basically. And I just haven't really talked to you about it. But just like I was doing my resort tour series at Disney World, I'm going to move on to a coffee series now that we're kind of here for a little bit, and every week I'm going to go try a new specialty coffee that's at Disney World. We actually did this for the first time.
Can I go and stand off camera?
I mean, you can come with me. I don't care. It's on Fridays, so well, you're usually working.
Some people got to be at their desk.
Gotta be at your desk. But some days maybe you can come with me because we got a staycation coming up at the Riviera, and there will be one during that you'll definitely get to partake in.
Let's go, Le Petit.
So
Cafe.
you can follow me over at Instagram, like Chris said. It's linked below. It's at Alex Windings Travels, and I'm gonna do just kind of I like sweet, delicious coffee, so I'm gonna go find all the sweet, tasty, fun coffee.
You got to give them the shorts on YouTube too.
Oh yeah.
So if you're
they'll be on there.
You might
too.
be listening
That's
this
true.
on a podcast player. They'll be on YouTube as well.
That's true. Yeah, if you're not following us over on YouTube, it's the Unwinding podcast over there as well. We have vlogs as well as we put the podcast if you want to see what we look like, which ain't much most of the time because
the podcast is radio and
yeah, exactly. Ain't much. Your girl likes gym
It's honest
clothes.
work right now.
It ain't much, but it's honest work. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Golly, got marathon training. There's going to be a lot of content coming up about probably running a marathon training towards the end of the summer when we get that going, when it's 1,000,000 degrees and we're going to sweat our patooties off.
Let's go.
It's going to be great. So anything else from you before we sign off?
Nah, man. I'm great.
Nella says, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Make sure if you are...
Thanks for being a good doggo,
Yeah,
Noah.
she was really, really good today. So, what I was going to say is leave a review. We've gotten a couple really, really nice reviews over for the podcast, so we really appreciate that. We'd love to hear from you there.
Just got the
All
one
the
bad
things,
review from your dad,
subscribe,
right?
like, comment. Yeah, whatever. He don't listen, I don't think. I think my mom does. Hi, Mom. Shout out if you made it this far. Like,
everybody turns off when we start doing the ads anyway.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So anyway, is that it?
That's it, man.
Okay. You're the one that finishes.
Oh, am I the one that does this now?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
No, you always
okay.
have. I just messed it up last
All right.
time and
I'll
did it.
sign off. All right, everybody. I'm Chris.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the Unwinding Podcast.
Bye, y'all.